So this is John Broz, the coach and proprietor of this gym I've been training in, and that's the 94 training hall video from our mind. So John, how long have you been weightlifting?
22 years.
22 years. And how long have you been coaching?
About a year.
About a year. Okay, do you prefer competing or coaching?
I like them both. I like lifting better.
Good man. And what are your competition PBs?
My best competition snatch is 153 kilos. My best clean and jerk is 180 kilos.
And what are your best training PBs?
162 kilo snatch, 187 clean and jerk, clean 192 arms.
Okay. And what are your squat PBs?
My best back squat is 280.
280 on the back squat. And what's your best front squat?
My best front squat is 210.
Okay. And what's your favourite, snatch or clean and jerk?
Snatch.
Snatch. Why?
That's just more challenging. I like it. I'm better at it.
Okay. What do you think is what are your favourite supplementary exercises?
We only do 6 exercises total. We do snatch, clean, jerk, power snatch, power cleans, front squats, and back squats.
Okay, that's it?
Yeah, that's it.
And would you do much core work or trunk work?
No.
And what kind of flexibility would heavy lifters do?
Do the lifts.
Okay, but so we wouldn't do much supplementary flexibility?
No.
And how many times, how would you progress how your lifters increase the amount of training volume?
Well, we start off just doing power movements, power snatch, power cleans,
Yeah.
3 days a week, and then eventually work up to where you do them every day.
Yeah.
And then eventually do them where you do
Every day is in 7 days a week?
7 days a week.
Okay.
And then eventually work up where you do the power movements 12 times a week, mornings and afternoons. And then the next stage would be to do full snatch and full clean jerk 3 times a week in the afternoons. Then eventually the full lifts every afternoon, and then eventually the full lifts morning and afternoon.
So it'd be more Bulgarian style training than...
My coach is Antonio Krastev.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, and he snatched 216.
Yeah, I lived
Highest
with him
snatch.
for 3.5 years.
And is he a nice man?
Super nice guy. A little
Yeah.
crazy, but
Did he coach you?
yeah, I lived with him for 3 years.
Fantastic,
Yeah,
fantastic.
When I met him, my best snatch was 90 kilos, and I clean jerked 130. And within a year, I did 120, 150.
And what do you think was the most important thing you learned off Krastev?
Just how to train in general. That all the other accessory shit doesn't mean anything. That the most important thing is do the lifts over and over and over and over.
Okay.
And push yourself as hard as you can. Because usually when you miss a max attempt,
Yeah.
it's not because it's physically a max. It's because you may just not know how to lift that weight yet.
Oh, okay,
So
as in
more
as in muscle memory.
the timing changes. Like it's kind of like his description of it was like if you're an artist and you're chiseling a statue.
Yeah.
First you chip a few things out of the stone. Eventually you have to get in there and polish every nook and cranny. And you have to get more efficient, and the timing has to be more sharp and more precise. And the only way to learn that feeling is to do lifts over and over.
Fantastic.
And if you never really try max attempts, you never try to figure out how to become more efficient, you don't ever have to be. So by doing the lifts over and over and over, you learn how to make certain attempts. Like for example, one of the best advice in the story I tell these guys all the time is the first time I snatched 120, I snatched 115 that day. I missed 120 6 times. I called it quits. I sat down, said, you know what, this isn't going to work for me. Went back out to the gym. I tried it 26 more times, and I finally made it. Figured out what I was doing wrong, and then 2 more attempts later, I made 125. So I made a 10 kilo PR in one day after 35 attempts. But the only way I could continue to learn how to do it was to keep trying and trying and trying and trying. First time I snatched 150, I missed it 52 times that day.
I don't know how to respond to that. So mental focus is a big thing in your training, obviously, and
Yeah, of course. Like any sport you got to be mentally disciplined and you got to be a champion. Most of the times when I'm coaching these guys, we talk more about how to build the mind of a champion than how to lift weights, because that's probably the most important thing. Because a minnow will never be a shark.
And how would you how would you teach them about mental focus?
Just mental toughness. I don't know if it's something you can teach. Some people have that ability to just suck it up and be a man, and some people they just will never have that ability.
Okay, so you're trying to bring out their inherent mental toughness and kind of develop that. Would it be through maximal weight or through
that's part of it.
Volume or
when you push yourself to a place you've never been before,
Yeah.
and it really comes time where should you quit or you should push through.
Yeah.
And that fortitude that it takes is something that I think that you have to build. Like with one of my star lifters, Pat, he's probably my best student.
Oh, you have him. He today snatched. Was it
Today he snatched
130, 140?
Probably 150 or 145.
And he power clean 170, 180.
Power clean 170 today.
Yeah.
But he's done 170, 200 relatively almost regularly.
Yeah, as a super heavy weighing 120.
He weighed about 125.
Yeah.
He's just turned 19.
Yeah.
But the thing about him is, and he's a great example, is because when I first met him, he would go to heavy weight and he'd miss and he'd just give up.
Yeah.
And so as time was building, he started to build the mind of a champion.
Yeah.
Know what it's like to have to fight for every kilo, have to scrap, and how to never give up. And
So are you teaching him that expectation?
Yeah, it's the only way, because you know, if you give up, you're never going to succeed. And so to teach these guys how to push through adversity when you feel like shit and you're tired, you don't want to train anymore, and the weights are heavy, but to learn how to fight through and make those attempts are something that you have to learn.
That's fantastic. Who would be your top lifter in the club? In this club, which is called Average Bros. Yeah, Average Bros. Yeah.
Kind of like the movie from Dodgeball.
Yeah, well, believe me, these guys aren't Average Bros. Dodgeball. Okay, so who do your top lifter in the club be?
Probably Pat. He's my best student. He's the most consistent. He trains twice a day, 7 days a week.
And who'd your second best lifter be?
Second best lifter?
Yeah. In terms of Sinclair.
In terms of Sinclair formula, probably Rob Adele. Him and Pat were very tight with Sinclair. They were within like 0.2 of each other on the Sinclair formula.
Okay.
He was a 94 kilo. He did 140, 180.
Okay, and what age is he?
He just turned 18.
Just turned it, so he did that as a 17-year-old.
He cleaned 177 at 17, and when he just turned 18, 2 days after his birthday, he cleaned 182.
What would his front and back squat be?
His best front squat was 210. His best back squat was 240.
And again, that's as a 17-year-old.
At 17.
Who's your favourite weightlifter all time? Who's your favourite all time weightlifter?
My favourite lifter of all time? Anatoly Pizarrenko.
Oh, and why?
Because he was just badass. He had such strong legs, and he just looked like a weightlifter to me. When I saw him, he just looks like a lifter.
And who'd your current favourite lifter be, as in still lifting?
Current favourite lifter?
Yep.
That's a good question. I don't know. There's so many that are so talented. I don't really have one right now.
All right. Who's your favourite champion in Beijing then? Or whose performance did you enjoy the most?
Oh, the 105 kilos, Amaranu, or whatever his name is.
200, 236.
200, 236.
Yeah.
He's amazing. He's so fast. He's got great position.
He's only 20 as well, isn't he?
Just turned 20. He's going to go super. I know he's going to move up. So
Yeah.
you can document that, because he's been suspended from the Russian Federation for 2 years for not lifting, but I guarantee he's moving up a weight class. That's why he got banned. So,
do you reckon he got banned because he was...
No, they said it was for drunk driving.
Yeah.
They said they didn't want him to hurt himself, and so they said the notoriety was like detrimental to his health, so they don't want him to lift for 2 years. But I guarantee in 2 years he's going to show up, he's going to be about 125 kilos.
And he'll be lifting a lot.
210, 260.
Yeah.
My prediction is he'll do 210, 260 in the 2011 Worlds.
And what about the Belarusian 85 lifter, Rybakov?
Yeah, he's amazing. He's probably the best snatcher, one of the best snatchers in history. I have a picture of him on the wall, and he's a fantastic snatcher.
There it is there.
It's very unfortunate that, he's, put 9 kilos or 8 kilos or 10 kilos on his total, whatever it was, from one Olympics to the next, and still took silver medal a second time.
Yeah.
It's a shame he's won silver twice, and he's so talented.
Okay. Just as a final send-off, my blog is called Weightlifting Epiphanies, and epiphany is like a moment of truth. Or can you think of a weightlifting epiphany that you had in your lifting career?
Probably when I met Antonio, because there were so many questions that I had that seemed like so gray and so unanswered, and his common sense and being on the national team for 13 years with Bulgaria, and when I met Avajev, speaking to both of them, putting all the pieces together, it just it became crystal clear that the U.S. lifters are terrible, and that we were never really good.
And do you reckon that's a skill factor, or is it a strength factor, or mental focus, or?
I just think it's a combination of a lot of things, but ultimately, if you look down, you see a platform and a barbell here.
Yep.
And if you look on any of these weightlifting videos, and you see the Russian team training, the Polish team training, the Greek team training, they all have a platform and a barbell.
Yep.
And they have athletes.
Yep.
So they're better than we are.
Yep.
Why? Is it because we don't have the athletes? No, I don't believe so. Just that I don't think they know how to train.
Okay.
I just think people don't push themselves hard enough, and they just don't drive themselves, and their expectations are too low.
Okay.
If you always shoot for the moon, you may fall short and hit the mountains, but if you shoot for the bottom of the mountains, you'll never go anywhere.
All right, well, I'm going to make a bold prediction and say Average Bros Gymnasium is going to be the dominant force in American weightlifting over the next, in maybe 2 years, 3 years, 1 year?
In 3 to 4 years, I said that we should probably be the #1 club.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for the interview, John Broz. It's been a pleasure training here. He is an absolute gentleman, and his lifters are fantastic, so thank you.